What's the weirdest food combination you've ever tried? Imagine this. You're alive at a time when diseases are ravaging the world and the economy as you know it has crumbled. You're forced to eat smaller portions of food when you can find something. To add insult to injury, you can't even fix a proper meal since you can't afford the staple ingredients, and now have to figure out a new recipe using whatever you have on the kitchen shelves. With this scenario in mind, what do you think would be the weirdest food combination you could ever try? What's the worst food you can stand? As you imagine the unimaginable, allow us to paint a picture of what life was like then. In this video, we'll share all about some of the weirdest food combinations from the Great Depression. So, let's get right into it. Welcome to Untold History Guy, where you can find fun, fascinating, and sometimes shocking chronicles of history. Join us as we journey back and uncover the untold truths of the past. Number 1. Carrot casserole and spaghetti. Casseroles were one of the most popular foods from the Great Depression, but not in the way you're thinking. Imagine having carrots in place of meat and then serving it with more carrots. Well, the casseroles from the Great Depression were a little strange and wouldn't pass for an actual casserole by today's standards. To make this carrot casserole, families combined all their leftovers to make one dish, allowing them to increase the variety in their menu without struggling for the hard-to-find ingredients. Spaghetti casseroles became the staple for most homes since meat was too expensive and more of a luxury. Boiled carrots substituted the spicy meatballs. This carrot spaghetti casserole would then be covered in white sauce since cheese was unavailable and a luxury. Number 2. Vinegar Cobbler. A peach cobbler would have been the perfect dessert, but when the fruit is unavailable to your home and the price tag is too high, the next best thing becomes the vinegar cobbler. I know you can imagine the tangy taste of vinegar, and you wouldn't think that it would be a good dessert option, but the people made do with it. We doubt it tasted as bad as it sounds, but at a time when you couldn't have a high standard for your meals and needed to survive, this dessert was an excellent replacement. The vinegar cobbler was a dessert made with a lot of vinegar in place of otherwise expensive peach fruit. The vinegar was mixed with sugar, water, vanilla, spice, and butter used as filling. Number 3. Mulligan Stew. Mulligan Stew is the term used to refer to the stews made by people experiencing homelessness during the Great Depression. The recipe for the Mulligan Stew varied depending on the food available at hand, so the stew was often made of different ingredients, and at other times, anything available to fill up the pot. Sometimes, filling the pot meant that some people added lint to the pot to make the meal more filling. Number 4. Meatless meatloaf. By the time the food shortages became prominent, meatloaves were already a staple in most homes. To make the loaves more palatable and to accommodate the scarcity of resources, families started tweaking the loaf's recipes. So meatloaf slowly became the standard loaf. Interestingly, a variety of meatloaves sprung up, from meatless meatloaves made with raisins and peanuts to meatloaves made of liver. Families got creative as they attempted to make something filling and warm, reminiscent of the weekly meatloaf they all loved. Number 5. Prune pudding. While many of us cannot stomach prunes, prune pudding was such a big deal during the Great Depression. Notably, First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt persuaded President Franklin Delano Roosevelt to allow them to serve the pudding to their guests at the White House. The main reason why prune pudding quickly became the elite's special pudding was because prunes were not only easy to store but also widely available. At the time, prunes were also cheaper than the rest of the available fruit, and they provided the nutrients needed at the time. You may not know this, but prunes are filled with fiber and provide you with a third of your daily vitamin K requirement. Number 6. Dandelion salads. A salad may be considered an expensive luxury, especially when you think of the cost of fresh salads, but during the Great Depression, people survived on little food. Hence, a new salad became a favorite. They came up with dandelion salad. It's now a prepper's favorite, but this nutritious salad wasn't an option back then. To make this salad, they added salt, pepper, and vinegar to the dandelion salad and ended up with a tasty salad that added essential nutrients to their bodies. The best part is they didn't have to spend anything on it. Number 7. Mock apple pies, without the apples. Apple pies are a staple of most homes today, and we can't even imagine holidays without some of that sweet pie. But during the Great Depression, the closest people got to actual apple pie was a mock apple pie. In the absence of apples, the creative Americans opted to substitute apples with crumbled crackers sprinkled with cinnamon and flavored syrup, and then all this was baked into the crust. This recipe turned out to be so good, despite its first appearance at the back of a Ritz cracker box from 1934, the Ritz mock apple pie became an instant hit throughout the period. Number 8. Creamed chipped beef. Better referred to as shit on a shingle by the World War II veterans, creamed chipped beef was the other meal people had to enjoy during the Great Depression. What was it? Well, creamed chipped beef referred to chipped beef covered fully in gravy and then served on toast. Other available meats would be used as substitutes in the absence of chipped beef. Number 9. Peanut butter stuffed onions. This is the other interesting meal from the Great Depression period. It was created by the Bureau of Home Economics and was known for its rather bizarre taste. The onions were baked and the taste improved by adding scoops of peanut butter as the onion filling. The result was the weirdest, most disliked, and most disgusting food from the period. Imagining the taste of onion alone is essentially unpalatable, but adding peanut butter to the mix might have worsened things. Yet some families survived on this on the toughest days of their lives. Number 10. Hoover stew. This is the other dynamic stew enjoyed during the Great Depression. Like the other stews made at the time, the Hoover stew recipe changed based on the available ingredients. Aptly named after President Hoover, this stew was primarily served in soup kitchens. It was made with a very thin broth filled with pasta, hot dogs, and any available vegetables. Without a rich broth, this stew gave you the impression that you'd had something meaty, when in truth, it wasn't the most palatable food from the period. Number 11. Potato pancakes. How do you like your pancakes? Buttery, soft, and fluffy? Well, pancakes from the Great Depression were nothing like what we enjoy today. They were made of potatoes, since potatoes were the widely available and affordable food option at the time. The grated potato pancakes that were either cooked or fried in a pan were common on most tables and enjoyed in almost every meal. Number 12. Corned beef salad. While it doesn't sound as bad, it really wasn't as great as you may imagine, since this salad was only made of Jell-O and mayonnaise. Other ingredients included horseradish, corned beef, vegetables, and eggs, held together by plain gelatin and loaf. This meal sounds quite messy and confusing, but when push comes to shove, you do what you have to survive. Number 13. Egg drop soup. Though it sounds like the modern-day egg drop soup served in Chinese restaurants, it was nothing like that. The egg drop soup from the Great Depression was made from fried potatoes to which water was added. Then the mixture was boiled before scrambled eggs were added and stirred in. Finally, the mixture would be served over soup. Trying to understand this recipe would be an exercise in futility, but you can see how weird this meal was. Number 14. Frozen fruit salad. This dish was without a doubt the ultimate Great Depression holiday treat. The salad was made with canned fruit topped with whipped cream, flour, eggs, and a host of other things like nuts, marshmallows, or anything else the family had at hand. All these would be frozen in trays and then served. A strange salad, don't you think? Number 15. Popcorn and milk. Last on our list is popcorn and milk, a truly strange combination since, as we all know, you need your popcorn crunchy. Well, the Great Depression didn't allow for preferences, and instead of pouring melted butter or even cooking oil over the popcorn, some people would pour milk over it and then have it as their main meal. Popcorn was taken with milk, not as breakfast, but as a dinner-time meal. Sounds rather depressing, no? So, what do you think about some of these foods? Would you try some of these foods today? Let us know in the comments, and while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from our channel.